Welcome to another exciting edition of The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. Remember, we're your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This afternoon, residents of Offinso in the Ashanti region living in fear following the disappearance and deaths of children. They're pointing fingers at internet fraudsters or Sakawa boys there. We'll take you live to the Offinso town and also have a broader conversation on how to deal with the menace.
No, what do you know more down to be the Achi?
You see, an annual quarters here by when you're 14 years, you see, Ben 3 days in you.
Judges and magistrates frustrated at government's handling of their conditions of service, describing the situation as sad.
Chairman, it is so frustrating to say the least. Mr. Chairman, without mincing words, we are so frustrated. We feel disrespected about the way our allowances are paid, as if it's a favor being done us.
We'll also hear their concerns about the new cantonment facility where they were moved to make way for the construction of the National Cathedral. Plus, there's been an increase in the number of positive cases of rabies in dogs, which bit people in Ghana this year from 56% last year to more than 64%. We'll find out how we got here as a country, also get answers as to how the veterinary service is dealing with this. My name is Aisha Brian. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu Affordable Safe Sanitation. We are also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Danana Aisha. Always a pleasure to host you.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Many thanks for choosing us. Now, residents of the Offinso community in the Ashanti region say they're living in fear following the disappearance of children in the town in recent times. The town is gaining notoriety as an enclave of internet fraudsters, popularly known as Sakawa boys. There's already public outcry over the suspicious wealth of some youth in the town who openly display flashy cars on the streets. Residents attribute the activities of the Sakawa boys to the missing children. Erasta Sasaridonko has more.
Residents of Offinso say this viral video showing some young men showing off in a flashy convoy of unregistered modern cars boils their blood. In the video, the occupants, described as Sakawa ritual internet fraudsters or scammers, are heard claiming one cannot be like them if they are unable to drink blood.
So this is where you see in the viral video. Behind me is Antoine, and just in front of me is Domi. Where I'm standing is called Amodem. And this is where you see in the video with the young men parading the luxurious vehicles across the street right up there. Now, this is what has become the talk of town, with people describing it as an act of scamming involving men supposed to be engaged in rituals for money.
Some residents narrated personal accounts depicting young men seen carrying coffins half naked in the town's cemetery in the dead of the night.
No me any passes, Fundaka white. Omuna Ubian atale Boston Guane Shibu. To Mutuam Molubebua, Fam Molubensa and Bidru Skuma. To Mudru Skuma Mudula saw me Bua Chiha. No, a Kwamba should have Hokoya see on the farm.
One of the two children who went missing in the town in the past 6 months has been found murdered. Residents link the new craze for unexplained wealth to unexplained murders and disappearances in the town.
Abema kitikiti kura ka wodemu no enye ka ketwa na Offinso jo saa nema we ne bi enkoso wonte se obi ekum obi wa ha wonte se yakwachichiri obi wa ha wonte saa asem no but enne de saa moja asem nko ana ekoso Offinso ya
kula voma ila disi ananu ya kola kotes ya baya onya 14 years disi ben 3 days ni hu na no so ba ko e ho 2 years boy hu be pemene disi ni omunu sika eze untimi no moja untimi ni ya tinne na ka omu de moja na ye omunya nkuma de wokurem
Mpanyimfo ko mboyira. Is obayira, o call report ko report no kwa. We the coding system. Wow. Hi papa. Hi say Offinso ekuru bia agidin Uganda mamia nyina na adwumadie sei ekoso Offinso mamia sei. Emwa.
Police will not immediately comment, but our sources say police patrols have been intensified. 2 meetings between Nananom, members of the Municipal Security Council, and opinion leaders have been held in the past days to find solution to the menace. Nana Yao Kobia Amenfi is senior linguist to the paramount chief of Offinso.
We called all the security heads in the municipality to a meeting at the palace. We discussed this particular issue and they promised to take action. Last week, we also summoned them to the second meeting where with assemblymen, the MCE, everybody, we invited all of them to a meeting of Nananom. But we are having some challenges. We have decided that we are organizing an emergency meeting on the 4th, then for the Traditional Council to take final decision because we've met the security heads, we've met the MCE, the assembly, all the assembly members, and all the security heads in the municipality. But still, no action is taken. Therefore, we want the Traditional Council to take a final resolution on the issue.
The story of Offinso is a mixture of fear incited by unexplained wealth attained overnight by young people and the disappearance of children, especially the recent murder of a 4-year-old girl. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaredonko, Offinso, Ashanti region.
Joining me in the studio for a conversation on this is security analyst Adib Sani. We'll be talking more on this. Good to see you always.
Good to see you,
in the
Aisha.
studio.
Always.
But first, my colleague Erastus Asaredonko, who put together the story, joins us via Zoom for more on this. Erastus Asaredonko, how are residents coping with this situation in Offinso where they describe as once peaceful? Erastus?
Especially the murder of the 4-year-old girl, and then a 4-year-old boy who has gone missing for about 2 months. And it keeps residents on their toes because then they do not know what is happening. And then there's this issue of young boys, who have unexplained wealth, are driving very expensive vehicles in the town. People they know do not work, do not have any specific jobs in the town, are overnight getting rich, and they're displaying their wealth, displaying flashy cars, and drinking around and misbehaving in town. And so they draw that conclusion or the perception that this is what is happening. Perhaps these are the people who are taking our children. Perhaps they are behind these killings. And so the fear stems from the fear of the unknown. We are losing our children, we are losing people, and then we are finding people who are getting rich overnight. So they assign that as a link to that unexplained phenomenon. So that is what is happening in Offinso.
In all, how many people are missing in the town, and which among them has been brought to closure?
So officially with the police, we have 2 children who went missing about 6 months ago. One of them, a 4-year-old girl, Benedicta, was found with her throat slit and her body packaged and buried in a shallow grave just close to the nursing training at Offinso behind their wall. And then the other one is little Abdullah, 4 years, a boy who has gone missing for about 2 months now. He has still not been found. The mother cries every day looking for the boy. Police arrested one person in connection with it. He's still in custody. He claims he took the boy, he brought the boy back. And so those are the official ones. But the people speak of different accounts in separate parts of the town, which the police say it has not come to their attention.
So what has police investigations gathered so far? I mean, and again, with these young people seen in the video talking about if you don't drink blood, you can't belong to our group or you can't be with us. What has the police been doing about this?
Well, so far, aside the increased police patrols in the town, very little. They have also arrested or impounded some of these vehicles in the past, I'm told, but these vehicles have since been given to their owners. The explanation, I guess, police sources indicate that this is a very dicey area for them because they work with law. And so far, they do not know of any law which they can use, especially when you see somebody driving a luxurious vehicle. If you go in and arrest that person, based upon what offense are you arresting the person?
And the video with the people in the video saying if you don't drink blood, you can't be with us, that also they cannot arrest?
Well, so they are saying that this is an offense. So if you, specifically what the source told me that, okay, so if you arrest the person, he's just saying that if you cannot drink blood, you can't be with us. What if he says, well, it's goat's blood I'm talking about? There is no law that you can charge the person with for drinking goat blood or otherwise. What if he says, I was joking? What do you say? So they think they're handicapped illegally in arresting these people. But then there are people who are also advocating that organizations like IOCO or National Security or the BNI could step in and investigate the background of people they suspect suspicious because they cannot assign sources to their wealth and be able to find out their background, where they make their money, trace the money, and be able to link them to whatever is bringing in the money. If it's internet, or that one in itself is crime.
You indicated in your story that the chiefs and the music have been meeting over the issue. Any outcome?
So there have not been any conclusive points on their meeting. I'm learning that there's another meeting coming up on the 4th between the Traditional Council and the various security heads. It's supposed to come up with a final resolution and some internal, if you call it bylaws, to be created to stem the tide concerning foreigners who are coming in. When I say foreigners, I'm referring to people from other areas outside of Offinso, and then the natives who are having unexplained wealth to be able to deal with it locally. And so we are waiting on the 4th to hear what will happen. But meanwhile, we've seen increased police patrols in the town. Police say they are also closing down certain joints that we have these people patronizing to be able to calm the fears of the people in the town.
Erastus Asari Donko is our reporter in the Ashanti region. He's the one who put together this report. It's something that we are following. But thankfully, Adib Sani, who is himself a young man, joins me in the studio for a discussion. How does this come across to you that as we fight as a country, struggle to deal with daylight robbery, which has become very rampant in recent times, the quest to get rich quicker by young people is also intensifying? First, it was Kaswa. We also heard of Abesim. Now it's Offinso in the Ashanti region.
Well, Aisha, a lot of it has to do with the economic deficits in our society that is pushing a lot of young people into uncertainty, with a lot of them thinking that the only way out is to resort to the easiest way to making money. Unfortunately, a lot of people come out of the universities on an annual basis to join the already existing backlog. There are no jobs. the opportunities are very limited. The few ones that are there are reserved for the politicians, the protocol list. So one of the reasons we've had to contend with this situation is those socio-economic deficits in our society. Secondly, we have a proliferation, so to speak, of a number of media houses that, of course, market these fetish priests and priestesses who convince viewers beyond reasonable doubt that if you come to me, you're going to go home with money. And when they go to meet these, occultists, they ask for human parts, okay? And sometimes you know what desperation can push someone into. And another reason is our inability to conduct thorough, extensive investigations to catch these criminals, to also serve as a disincentive to others who might want to toe the same line. So our inability to invest in crime and investigation is part of the problem. And generally, we've been dealing it from the surface. I mean, superficially. I heard you say, some pubs have been closed. That is a superficial way of addressing this issue. Rather, I think that we have to handle it from the very fundamentals. And actually, it would interest you to note that this used to be a very talked about topic some time ago. Then we let our guards down. Then things have now spiraled out of control, and we're starting to talk about it again. I think that if we had stopped them in their track, we wouldn't have had to get to this stage. But now things are a bit more complicated than we can imagine, because initially it was all about internet, people losing their life savings. But now people are losing their lives, as well. So it has become a major national security issue that really needs urgent attention.
As a security analyst, you do a lot of research in this area. What do you make of the police's response that they cannot arrest the people in the video, for instance? I mean, they don't know what crime they would charge them of if they arrest them.
Well, I mean, I must say, the police response to this scourge has been quite abysmal. And it is also irresponsible, so to speak, on the part of the police to say they didn't perpetrate any crime. Just looking at the videos alone is enough to tell. I mean, when I was looking at it, two things came to my mind. One, some of the vehicles were without number plates. I don't know the last time the laws were changed such that you can drive vehicles without number plates. Secondly, I don't know the last time the laws was changed that says that it is legal to drive a car with part of your body outside the car through the window. I mean, obviously they were breaking traffic regulations. But apart from that, if we invest more into intelligence, we should be able to get to the bottom of it. But I mean, not to frighten people, but the two children who are lost, they should look further. Perhaps more children have been killed outside that jurisdiction, because the research that I have conducted into the activities of these ritual murders is that mostly they perpetrate more of their crime outside that jurisdiction, so you don't have attention coming to them. Because if more children keep getting missing within that area, it will become exactly. So we should look beyond Offinso, other neighboring areas, whether we've had cases of people getting missing.
And of course, the general question then is the police doing enough to protect us as citizens? Because you started by saying that, I mean, it used to be internet fraud where they take people's money with technology. Now people are losing their lives as well. Is the police doing enough to protect us?
To a very large extent, the police is doing a lot, but it's not enough. And we are also not doing enough to protect ourselves, Aisha. I mean, a lot of us are so indifferent. We're so nonchalant to our personal security. We still have a lot of Ghanaians who leave their homes with the keys to the doors under the flower pot or in the flower pot. Now people leave it on the car ties. We don't perform security audits. When I mention security audit, people feel that, hey, that is the work of the security experts. But no, security audit is about you walking around your facility and asking yourself, if I'm a criminal and I want to access this facility, how would I do it? When we are renting an apartment, After you rent and you move in, do we change the locks? Because you know the keys must have gone round a lot of agents. You don't know who might have picked one or duplicated one. So I think that in as much as we consent about the police doing their bit, it is shared responsibility. We also have a role to play. So far as ensuring that we are safe at the personal level, our families are safe, and of course, our communities are safe. And our habits on social media is also not helping, because these criminals, they are able, with a click of a button, know everything about us, our movements, what time we report to work, what time we close from work, our children, the schools they attend, what time we drop them at school, what time we pick them up, and all that. So with that trove of information, you make yourself very vulnerable. So I think that it's important a lot more Ghanaians are educated. And let me use this opportunity to appeal to multimedia to, I think, as part of your social, corporate social responsibility, get some of us who are very willing and capable to be part of that educational process, so we can get as many Ghanaians as possible becoming alert, becoming aware of their security environment.
Definitely is one of the things we're doing right now. But of course, in the last few hours, the Ashanti Region Police have issued a statement on some arrests, and I'll read parts of that for you. The anti-robbery task force of the Ashanti Regional Police Command, in an intelligence-led operation, shot 2 suspected armed robbers who later died at the hospital. Another suspect linked to the crime, Abraham Kwesi Tete, has been arrested, whilst 4 others are being pursued. Now, the gang attempted to rob a gold dealer at Manso in the Amansia South District of the Ashanti region on September 24, 2021, which is last Friday. Members of the gang forcibly invaded the residence of the gold dealer in the hours of 9 p.m., disarmed the private security guard of his weapon, and fired shots into the residence. At this stage, a police combat team that had mounted a 24-hour surveillance on the gang returned fire to protect the innocent lives in and around the property. And members of the 4 of the suspects managed to escape, but the 2 who sustained gunshot wounds were arrested and sent to the hospital, but were pronounced dead on arrival. One of the deceased robbers, known as Lukman, had been granted bail by the Donkwa Circuit Court at an earlier appearance and scheduled to reappear on October 27, 2021 for allegedly robbing passengers on the Donkwa Ayamfuri Highway. And this is, it was just dropped a few hours ago. A manhunt is underway to track and arrest the 4 that escaped. We suspect that some of the gang members who escaped might have sustained gunshot wounds. We are therefore appealing to the public to volunteer information on everyone who is seen in and around Manso, Dausaso with noticeable gunshot wounds to the nearest police station. And this is signed by the Ashanti Region Police PR outfit. And the Ashanti region is gaining notoriety in crime. It's becoming rampant. We're recording a lot of criminal activities in the Ashanti. What could be accounting for this, Hadib?
Well, development comes with its own security issues. Unfortunately, in the development planning process, we concentrate very much on the infrastructure to the detriment of, you know, the other implications it would have, such as many people coming from all corners of the country and converging at a central point. So the Ashanti region has become a melting pot of activities, with people from all across
amazingly,
the country.
in Kumasi used to be highly densely populated. Now, if you look at the recent population census, it's now bringing it back to Accra being the most populous region. So, I mean, that means that a lot of the people are rather coming to Accra. So why are we recording more of the cases also in Kumasi?
Well, Kumasi, let's not forget, is the second largest city in Accra, in Ghana, sorry, and it's still a central business district, for mostly persons from the northern part of the country who come over instead of coming all the way to Accra to buy, you know, their wares and goods and take it back. So it is still busy. It's still busy area. There's still a lot of money, and criminals are, of course, making sure they grab what they can. But I think that most of it also has to do with the security leadership.
Okay.
You remember when Kofi Ofori, Boachi.
Okay,
Kofi Boachi was the regional command.
Yes.
His leadership skills was brought to bear, and it's reflected, it impacted on the crime statistics in that area. Okay, so if we are able to improve intelligence, and lately, anytime you see the police issuing a statement where some robbers were killed, it has that's what do we call it? Phrase, intelligence-led. The last time it happened at Shiashi, when 2 or 3 robbers were killed after they robbed someone of some money at the airport area. And today, we are having this also. So if you are able to improve intelligence, if you are able to get the people to be part of the security management process, it improves. So Ashanti region is a number of activities, and certainly leadership is part.
I'm grateful for your time. Adib Sani is a security analyst, and he's been doing a lot of work in criminal activities. Thank you so much for coming. We'll take a break on the pulse. When we return, there's been increase in the number of positive cases of rabies in dogs, which bit people in Ghana this year from 56% last year to more than 64%. We'll find out how we got here as a country.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back to the Pulse. Now, there's been an increase in the number of positive cases of rabies in dogs which bit people in Ghana this year. It rose from 56% last year to more than 64%. Majority of those cases were reported in Accra. Our research desk breaks down the figures further for us, and I'll take you through that shortly. Now, this is the total number of cases recorded as at August. And so we have 31 total number of cases recorded. Out of that, we have 20 as positive cases, which represents 64.5%. Negative cases, which is 11, representing 35.5%. And 83.9% of the cases are cases which occurred in Greater Accra. Now, let's look at this, which is also the one that was reported at the veterinary laboratory in Accra. Total number of the cases recorded, 46 here. You have 26% out of the 46 standing out to be positive cases, which represent 56.5%. 20 of the cases negative, which represent 43.5%, and you have 91.3% of all the cases occurring in Greater Accra. Now, you come back to the laboratories and you look at the total number of cases that went to the laboratories. There are 41. 25 out of that came out as positive, which represents 61%. 19 came out negative, which represents 39%. And 63.4% of all those cases also occurred in Greater Accra. Now, there's underreporting of cases across the country due to a lot of public people in the public not being aware of what to do. At least that's what research has shown. There's also late diagnosis at some medical facilities. That is why we'll be having a conversation on this. And joining me for that conversation is Dr. Benjamin Kisi-Sesu, who is with the Risk Communication Team of the Veterinary Services Department of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. First, how did we get here as a country?
Good afternoon to all your viewers. It's so sad that we have gotten to this situation. And before we get to the statistics we gave, globally, according to World Health Organization, 59,000 lives are lost due to rabies every year. And when we do the statistics calculation, means daily we are losing 144 lives every day across the globe. And out of these 59,000, more than 70% deaths are recorded from Africa. And even in Africa, there's more of underreporting. Even if you see what the statistics we just had from Accra Veterinary Lab, that's more of the testing. So a lot of people do not report. We could find out later that people have died, and later when the samples are brought from humans, they get to know that people do not report. A lot of people die without reports being taking place. Just last month, we had a life lost in the Central Region. A lady who is under 15 years, a life was lost due to rabies. Yesterday, we had Katamanso because 2 people died due to rabies. One be a pregnant person and one be a child. And people have been taking this for a joke. And as we are aware, last year, there was a whole document signed about ending rabies 2030. We are joining the World Organization, other countries, to say that by 2030, we want to eradicate rabies in Ghana. But looking at the statistics, it seems much more work needs to be done. And if you look at this year's statistics, the reporting is up to August, and we are just have 31 cases so far, and out of it, that we have 64.5%. And if you realize in these cases, a lot of them are from Greater Accra. But ask yourself, what about the other regions? Are they really reporting? Because last year we went to Upper West to do a rabies campaign. I realized that a lot of people do not report. They go by tradition to find their method. Some have not really understand rabies as it is. And most of the rural areas, people are using them for hunting, are used for a lot of purposes. And when they get a bite and scratch, some people don't report to the hospitals for them to get to know. These are issues of greater concern. That's each year, especially in September, we do take the opportunity to advise that everyone should check whether his or a dog is vaccinated. You realize that 99% of all human rabies are coming from dogs. So in September, we do make a lot of noise, which the media have been helping, which JoyNews have been helping us every year to make this noise. So the situation is not kind of improving. This is what has been recorded. We are looking at what has not been recorded too. It's also a big issue to talk about. So it's a greater concern, which we have to let the public to know that anytime that you get bitten or you get a scratch, whether it be a puppy, there's one thing that people should know. When it means a puppy, people don't report at all. If you get a scratch from a puppy, for any type, just report to the nearest so the situation is put under control. But in your own house or wherever you find yourself, if you're walking around, whenever you are bitten or you get a scratch from a dog, just get a running water and wash under running water for at least 5 to 10 minutes. You could sing A, B, C, D, or can sing a song and make sure you wash. After that, you get to the nearest health facility. Most people, after a scratch, after a dog bite, just normally look at the dog and say, "Oh, this is a puppy," and they don't mind.
So why is it that more dogs are getting the rabies now, and they in turn infect the human beings through biting?
Yes, globally, as I said, 99% of the human rabies are coming from dogs, and we can stop this thing 100%. Rabies is preventable, 100% preventable when we do vaccination. 10 to 20 years ago, Ghana had a free rabies campaign, which was ongoing. But due to different successive governments, currently we don't have this campaign going on. Now people are left to do their own vaccination, and people are not being of concern, and this is happening. So I think last 2 years, Kasa also had a share of a lot of rabies outbreak there, and people went in to do free rabies vaccination. The goal is to make sure we get our pets vaccinated every year. If we do it continuously and vaccinate about 70%, we are good to go that by 2030 we could eradicate it. If not, we'll still have it because there are still stray dogs always around. As we walk around the street, we see dogs moving around, and this is a greater concern. People, and this doctor will always say have owners, because these dogs in the night go back to their owners. So we also ask that every owner should be responsible. Be responsible by making sure provide shelter. Don't leave your dogs out anyhow, and people should respect signs that are put in front of people's building. Don't just enter somebody's building when it says beware of dog, because when you enter somebody's territory whereby the dogs are there for security purposes, you'll be in trouble. And you have even some of the cases where provoked bite. Some children normally would like to throw stones or hit the dogs with stick, and the dog in defense would attack. And in all these things, this year's theme is rabies, fact but not fear. We always, when we do here, people get frightened. But this time I think that there are factors we should know. 1, rabies is 100% preventable by vaccination. 2, it's 100% fatal. Once you get bitten, signs begin to develop in human. there's nothing that we could do. You would just lose your life. And many health facilities who have encountered this situation would let you know. We also want to let us know that 2/3 of the world still have rabies in their country, and Ghana is part of it. But some countries are be able to eradicate it, and we could also do it as we put on our long-term plan.
And I'm happy you talk about eradication. And yesterday was World Rabies Day. As you celebrated that day, what are the new strategies you intend to introduce to deal with this?
Okay, I think last year, though there was COVID, which made everything a little bit down, and our awareness was a little bit down. Last year, the government, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, they signed a 10-year long plan, which being rolled up. It's the guide for us to create awareness and also to end. And they have stated all these things, which we are hoping the various ministries will put into practice, especially with the free rabies vaccination that we are still advocating for. Some assemblies are doing well, and their budget some money down. Like yesterday, in Pongo Tamasu, that we hosted the World Rabies Day, they, for now, after the target to do 6,000 vaccinations in their municipality, which is yesterday, as we were on ground, a lot of people did patronize it. Yesterday one was for free. Some of the places said they would do it for subsidized prices as low as 5 cedis. And across the country, other regions are also creating awareness and are letting people to come, and they are doing a subsidized. Some are going to get support. But the plan, what we are wishing to do is government to adopt a policy whereby we could do the free rabies vaccination across the country. If we are able to do it for more than at least 5 years, we cover 70%, we will be good to go. If not, by 2030, and countries are reporting for them to get checks to see whether we have had rabies eradicated. I don't think Ghana will be named as one. And if you look at the statistics, it means we still have rabies among us. And just as I said last month, a life was lost. More work needs to be done. And we would ask that various bad bodies, NGOs, society, media, to help us dumb this message down so we could get needed support. So by 2030, we will be free. It's so sad. Maybe some have not seen people dying. It's a shameful death. See a human being dying, whereby he's struggling like an animal, some backs, some having during saliva, they become so aggressive, having tied to buildings. If you meet some health personnel who have encountered this thing at the facility, the person is being locked up in a room to die. Nothing could be done. It's so bad. So most people, when their relative or friend die through this, they don't tell people. And they don't do organized funerals. They tell people that they have traveled outside of the country. In 4 years, I've met people who have lost loved ones, and they have told people that the people have traveled outside the country, because it's very shameful. It's so.
I'm grateful for your time. Dr. Benjamin Kisise so is with the veterinary services. He says a lot more is being done to deal with rabies infections, but he says the public must be educated that it still exists, and we must do a lot to also protect ourselves. There's a desperate move by contractors working on the Dansoman Sea Defense Project to save what is left of the fast-eroding coastal community of Glefey, which has been at the mercy of violent sea waves. Last week, about 7 houses collapsed as a result of the devastating sea erosion in the area, exposing the only health facility as the next in line. The Ministry of Works and Housing had hinted it will dispatch a team to assess the situation by Thursday, but in just the past 24 hours, 3 more houses have collapsed, leaving more residents displaced. My colleague Manuel Coranting, who reported this earlier, went back to Glefey, and here's his report.
The people here are left distressed and, stranded. For most of them, they are having to loiter around, spend the night in the open air at the mercy of the weather. Themselves, their children, their wives, or even husbands all together.
Maybe I'm a young storm. I got sure come on to a fan and bear come a young storm. Oh, I'm perfect when I face the face now. When one you walk, Manglopo walk and when you want.
She take baletani near your beer in show, come on, any being near your beer lolo.
First, I'm sure I shown. Then the war, baby. Oh, by God, and sure that you buy she don't buy care, that will ban and sure. She not born can see defense and if I can why her not share when the pressure. But come on, I be in the Kakumo to D.
She's been telling me that they've been living here for about 8 years or so, and that the sea has taken down their house, and so now she lives in a store which is right ahead of this particular point, and she lives there. And this lady also has a baby.
Milena 4 months.
Obilena 4 months. One book level.
Ofane watu kumo biane wabe nu wo biane watu kumo be nu wo.
Ya tu kumo ni beka no hia le ngbe ne kele wo.
Wa shu agba nu wo kam wo.
Shu agba ngbe. So she's been telling me that they have to, put up a tent to pass the night at the mercy of the weather, together with this baby she's holding, a 4-month-old baby. She won't just in the past couple of minutes that we arrived here, there's, an excavator that is carrying some of the rocks and then some of the boulders and putting them just across the shoreline, something the semblance of a temporary, protection for them. At this side of town, the women, the children, really are the ones who are bearing the brunt of the waves. Let me speak to some of the gentlemen who are here and gathering around.
Main reason why every brother they ensure a fight, a destroy any be okay. I feel no koya immediately, but we don't know what to say. The whole town will just go off. And Pako on Taekolo or Koicho Wangme, or Inga Kembile ama peto me. Ni Munka Jena Mun impeto Nyanjonakano.
He says, that's in God translates as they just hang around wherever that they can find. He says his wife and child hang around somewhere. He also hangs around somewhere until day breaks, and then they continue their journey in search of a new place they can call home. Past couple of minutes that we arrived here, the project manager, Mr. Godfred Kwaku, together with a few of his officers have arrived here. And as you can see, the excavators are working now.
You see, normally sea waves are extremely high in August and September. And then with the global warming, the waves are even higher. We could see in other European countries how the sea is causing havoc. So that has increased the wave height and the erosion of the area which we have been contracted to operate. So what we are doing now is we have to eliminate or minimize the effect of the erosion. So if you could see, I've arranged some boulders, big boulders, parallel to the beach. That is to minimize the erosion while we are doing the construction. Maybe after Friday we should be able to cover them up.
I was just asking a direct question that the expectation is that by the end of this week, you mentioned Friday, yes. By the end of this week, this place will be protected.
Yes, it will be, I cannot say fully protected, but minimize it. Because if you say fully protected, then means that nothing can happen. But I'm trying to minimize the effect on the waves. I can't give assurance that fully when I do this, it's even possible that the waves can be even higher than what I'm doing.
Meanwhile, a building consultant says government must have a holistic approach in solving the tidal waves quagmire that has plagued communities along Ghana's coast for a while now. Residents along the coastal areas from Keta through Ketu, Glefey and surrounding areas have had their houses swallowed by sea waves, a situation that has also affected their source of income. Engineer Abdullah Mahama says aside raising the height of the sea defense walls, governments must have a holistic research into the issue so as to find a lasting solution to the problem. He spoke on the AM show.
Some portions, especially those who are very close to the sea, will not be able to reclaim their lands now. That's why I'm saying that it takes a lot of engineers. So maybe when government expresses interest in going to those areas to actually put a solution to the problem, the engineering will be done, the survey will be done, the extensive survey, and the topography will determine whether government would have to, the client, in this case, the government of Ghana, would have to go in or will start at the locations where the buildings have been washed already. And that means that if the engineering report comes and they said where the last building is actually situated now is where the defense had to start, it means the lands which are now covered by the sea cannot be reclaimed again. Secondly, I think that the facilities alone, once you keep on doing one area, you don't tackle the next area, which is extremely low. It's like displacement of water. So you have a water in a bucket, you put your hand in, or you put a certain object in, the water displaces. So if ordinarily we're having about maybe 100,000 liters of the sea coming at a time, and you cannot control that one, and you have just protected this side, it moves in the other direction, because that is the place that it has water will define its own course. So I blocked what point A and B has been blocked. When the water comes with that speed, as it hits the area, the others will be displaced to the next area where you have not actually protected. That's why it's always important that, like I said, we look at the lowest areas and we'll start to build and then end at the end of the day. But Israel, money, capital, huge capital is involved. What I expect government to do for us now is to be able to engage a team to run a holistic and comprehensive engineering from point A to point the last point, and then see how government intends to tackle one lot after the other and how much is involved, possible source of funding. And then if government is not going to get so much money to continue, what are the houses that maybe government would have to relocate for now to save lives and property?
Traders and road users in Accra's busiest market, Makola, are incensed over what they say is a neglect of roads in the area. It is the city center of Ghana's capital, with hundreds of business activities operating around structures that were famous symbols of commerce in Ghana after independence. But some of the people who work from there say it is a pale shadow of its former self. JoyNews' Justice Baidu has been there for JoyNews.
The famous UTC building, once a signature monument of busy life in downtown Accra. Now abandoned and in ruins, it still towers over the city's central business district. The commercial life hasn't changed though. A chunk of Accra's business activity still happens here. And yet, the road network is run down. There are gaping potholes when you are driving from the UTC area heading up to the Central Post Office. Drivers and traders are the ones feeling the pinch the most.
Madam 25 years old Accra now a fact more than 8 years as we say.
I have driven in Accra for more than 25 years. This is where all the AMA buildings are, and yet all the roads are bad. Just a few minutes away from here is the office of the mayor, and look at the roads. If the government won't fix the roads for us, they should come and plant plantain trees on it for us. We don't have plantain in Accra. If they won't fix the roads, they should plant plantains
Old Ghana house here, between Barclays Bank, all kinds of say, may office near, now consume, only now, you say, only yet.
Of town says, yeah, blah, 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 I am a seto. One district, one down,
this road is like a dam. I think this is our share of government's one village, one dam. When it rains, this place floods, and when the sun comes out, it's extremely dusty. We are chased for tolls and levies, and yet look at where we sell from.
The trotro drivers here are also suffering because of the road. Our cars are always breaking down.
Elizabeth Oforiwa has been selling by this heavy pothole for years. She says the bad roads slow down business and put their life at risk. Accra's hustle and bustle happens from dawn to dusk every day. But the rough roads here remain a headache for those whose lives depend on it. Justice Bedu, JoyNews, Accra.
Justice Bedu joins me via Zoom with more, and he's still there for us. Justice Bedu, what are residents, what have they been telling you? What is really frustrating them?
Actually, their biggest frustration is to do with the way that the traffic slows down work because there's so many people in that enclave. It really would help if the traffic moved faster than it does now. And I've been here 3 days ago when we shot for this story, but then also today, and then seeing the slow pace at which cars are moving. If you get into the traffic, for the people who know the geography of Accra Central, from about Cocoa Board getting to UTC, you could spend up to 2 hours in a distance of less than 500 meters. You could spend up to 2 hours just to cross that section, and it is essentially because the roads are so bad. Drivers just need to slow down extremely to be able to cross that stretch, and it's also because of the sheer number of people that come there to buy and sell, and so for a lot of them, it is only because they really need to come there every day to sell that they are coming. That's why they keep coming. But then it is really a tough time for them, they say, because the roads are so bad. You really cannot move around, and it's just because of the roads.
What are the city authorities saying?
So they tell me that they have complained for years. This location is just meters away from the AMA offices, which is where the city's mayor and all the influential people who plan the city work from. And so there is an irony of the people who really should get things done working in the same area where the roads are so bad. And for some of the traders that I spoke with, that's their frustration. We have been trying to get through to somebody at the AMA to answer some questions, but as with many of the stories that we do, Aisha, it's been really difficult to get anyone who would take responsibility and tell us what really government is doing. We see though that in some parts of the city, just around the same area, within the Osu Clote constituency area, some roads have seen a lot of work. There are some roads that have seen asphalt overlays, and that is a lot of relief for people who live in these areas. But many other parts of Accra, especially within central Accra, have roads that have gaping potholes, in the words of some of the people that we spoke with, manholes that would take a lot of patience to maneuver through. Aisha.
Justice Bedu is our man on the ground monitoring this for us. It's something that would also be monitoring and bringing you updates on how this is resolved. But Ghana Nurse and Midwife Trainees Association says the failure of the government to pay allowances of nurses on rotation is affecting the service they provide in various health facilities. For about 8 months, trainees on rotation are yet to complete the processes for government to process their payments. According to the group, members who are working in areas outside their home regions are finding it difficult to survive. Leadership say members are affected psychologically. The trainees want to strike in October in demand of the lockup arrears.
What he did mention, like you said, it is affecting us psychologically, emotionally, and even physically. Because as we speak, when you go to the facility, your in charges don't care whether you are being paid or not. What they know is that you must come to work. So as to whether you go and borrow money or what have you, what they know is you must come to work. And it is affecting us. A lot of our colleagues are being molested by even landlords for not paying their or renewing their rentals and even paying for the utility bills. So this is a clear call on the President of the Republic, as he promised the trainees and intends that when he assumed office, he will restore allowance. Of course, he did. But the inconsistencies in the payment of these allowances and how the rotation nurses and midwives are not being paid for 8 months.
We are working with humans, and I don't expect a hungry nurse to be able to take very good care of a patient. When you are hungry, how do you even become strong enough to stand by a patient to take care? It involves a lot. We are crying upon these things to the government that he should pay the rotational allowances. At least, for how long can you borrow money to take care of yourself to be able to go to work?
Rotation is not like when you're in school and then you're going for clinicals that you can choose the site that you want. It is the stakeholder in charge that puts you to where the stakeholder wants. So you can be from the Ashanti region and be posted to the northern region. And then when you go, you have to rent. You have to feed yourself and stuff. So how do you do all these things without money?
Nursing training colleges posted Godfred Entry is Press and Information Secretary to the group.
We would like to bring to the government.
Will you listen to us?
We would like to bring to the government is the 2019 batch of nurses that are at home. We are out to the government to post them so that the margin of nurse-patient ratio would be closed. These are our problems. We are bringing them to the government. We are bringing them to the people of Ghana so that it can be addressed.
Minority MPs on Parliament Select Committee on Health clashed with the military personnel at the yet-to-be-completed Afari Military Hospital in the Ashanti region Monday. The men at one of the facilities refused to grant the MPs access to the abandoned facility without express permission from their superiors. But the minority MPs eventually called the bluff of the officers and embarked on a tour which revealed over 100 gas cylinders, several medical equipment, among others, being left at the mercy of the weather. Ranking member on the Health Committee, Kwabena Mintah Akando, wants the facility to be put to use.
Will you listen to us?
Let's.
If I'm not listening, like I know this.
Let's.
No, we are people. You have identified people.
Let me finish.
As a member of Parliament.
Let me finish.
Yes. And the way we also do our work is that for public facilities, we don't need permission.
Yes.
No, we don't need.
You know,
okay.
it is very
Daddy, I'm coming. We need our ID cards, and I'm happy that you have identified Akando.
Listen,
yes,
Daddy,
I'm
coming.
So your rules.
I'm coming. Daddy, I'm coming. Daddy, don't worry. Daddy, Sergeant, listen to me. You're speaking to me in your own interest. I know you are receiving instructions from your people, and I'm giving you this harmless advice. You are struggling to protect your leaders, but in your own interest, in order not to escalate anything, let's handle it the way you want us to handle it. Let's finish what we are doing here. We will all go to engage whoever we want to engage. I am telling you that if you do anything more than this, your leaders whom you have spoken to will blame you at the end of the day. So please, with the greatest respect, they will blame you, they will sacrifice you at the end of the day. Okay? So just stand here.
For me, you have not identified me.
Please. If we should go to him. No problem. Let's finish what we're doing here. We can all go. Okay. We are granting an interview here. Once we finish, we are almost done. So when we finish, we will go. Yes. With all due respect, I gave you the maximum respect. Listen, you see,
I beg you in the name of God. Let's go to the site engineer.
I don't have a problem. Going to the site engineer is not a problem. I'm saying that we can't go to a site engineer and come back here again.
The minority parliament says it will push for a parliamentary probe into the various abandoned health facilities across the country. Ranking member on the Health Committee, Kwabena Mintah Akando, who is incensed over the development, argues that loans worth over millions of dollars procured to contract the facilities are not being put to their intended use, a situation he believes is causing huge financial loss to the nation's scarce resources. The minority caucus on the Health Committee, who are on an unannounced nationwide visit of some abandoned health facilities, have so far been to Kumewu, Fomena, Afari, and Abetifi. My colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson brings us to the current state of the Abetifi Health Facility.
The Abetifi Referral Hospital in the Eastern region, and we understand that this building was put up under the Mahama administration in 2014 and was expected to complete somewhere in 2016. But as you can see, this is the state of the project. The minority caucus on the Health Committee, again with their unannounced visits, have come to this facility to inspect whether indeed there is some progress going on with this facility. I understand that these metals, as you see, are being used to support the blocks because they are falling off. So this is the current situation here at the Abetifi Referral Hospital. The minority caucus on the Health Committee is quite incensed about the development. Yesterday we visited the Kumewu Hospital, we went to the Fomena Hospital, and went to the Afari Military Hospital in the Ashanti region. Today we are here at the Abetifi Referral Hospital, and then the situation is almost the same. The minority says government should quickly ensure that all the abandoned health facilities are completed.
The Abetifi Hospital Member of Parliament for the Yulo Krobo constituency, Albert Tete Nyankote, is demanding the immediate operationalization of the newly constructed Yulo Krobo District Hospital. The 120-bed health facility, which was completed in January this year and handed over to the government, is yet to be put to its intended use. JoyNews' checks at the facility reveal installation of medical equipment, a fully finished administration block, and a standby ambulance. According to the MP, in spite of calls on the minister to kickstart operations at the facility, noting nothing has yet been done about it. Speaking to the media, he observed that a further delay of the project will have an adverse effect on the lives of people in the catchment area.
This is the Yulo Krobo Hospital. We are told that this facility was completed and handed over to government January this year or early this year. Well, the assurances was that the facility will see some operationalization by August this year.
The ministry has applied for financial clearance for recruitment of support staff. And when this is approved, the swimming at this hospital will be allocated with the requisite support staff to enable operations to commence. Meanwhile, clinical staff have been identified and will soon be posted to the facility. We are anticipating that the hospital will be commissioned before the end of August 2021.
Well, that hasn't happened. The Member of Parliament for the area is unhappy with the situation. He fears this project would also add up to the number of abandoned projects across the country. He's asking government and the health minister to quickly ensure that this project is put to use.
So I had the opportunity to file a question to ask the minister to come and open the hospital. And he said the hospital was going to be open soon. I think that was in June. Up to today, the place is lying idle. Our people don't have access to healthcare because the hospital is very small. It's a health center. And a lot of people are coming from all villages and they cannot get access to the place. So I'm taking the opportunity to call on the government that this hospital must be open soon, must be open now for our people to get healthcare. If we keep it like this, then we are actually causing financial loss to the state because all the money is here, all the investment is here, and our people do not have access to healthcare.
Ranking member on the Health Committee who toured the project to see that indeed is a completed facility which at its core to government, and also indicated that the minority will ensure that government really complete all the projects that have been abandoned.
My understanding was that it should have been in operation by now. So when I was coming, I thought I was going to see medical doctors and nurses in this facility. Unfortunately, it's been handed over technically to the ministry and they're still idling. If you're not very careful, you see the grasses have started growing weedy, and very soon the facilities will also start deteriorating. So I think that I will add to the appeal from the MP that government must immediately operationalize this facility for the people in the area to get a full benefit of the facility.
For JoyNews, I'm reporting from the Municipal Hospital.
Assembly members for the Ifiankwe Municipal Assembly have voted 100% for President nominee Kojo Akwa during his confirmation on Wednesday. All 20 Assembly members clad in white attire gave him a nod to manage the affair of the Assembly for the second term in an election supervised by the Electoral Commission. The Ifiankwe Municipal Assembly was part of the 38 newly created Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies by President Mr. Kojo Akwa was first confirmed as MCE for the area on July 31, 2018, after accumulating 20 yes votes from the Assembly members. In his acceptance speech, Mr. Kojo Akwa said his confirmation is a clear indication of the unity and togetherness that prevails in the Assembly. He says he's optimistic the greater successes will be chalked in his second term.
To be called once again to take up such enormous responsibility and counted amongst the presidential instruments of transformation in our localities. I would like to firstly give thanks to the Almighty God, who in his infinite wisdom and good grace made this unfathomable victory possible. He has indeed showed that he is a rewarder of hard work and those that diligently seek him. I wish to once again reiterate my appreciation to His Excellency Nana Dodakwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, for this rare privilege of nominating me for the second time unreservedly. Sir, I will live up to your confidence and trust reposed in me. To the Regional Minister, MP for Takoradi, Members of Parliament for Efia and Kwesimintim, the Regional and Constituency Executive of the New Patriotic Party, friends and family who stood by me in my waiting moments, I say thank you. You represent a pillar of support to lean on at all times. I'm deeply grateful. I also applaud and extend my gratitude to the presiding member and all honorable assembly members for the civil conduct exhibited throughout the voting process and for endorsing my nomination as the municipal chief executive of this great municipality, which I accept this day and pledge to fulfill with total commitment. Honorable presiding member, my confirmation.
The Regional Minister Dr. Kwabena Shreda on a smart appeal to other Assembly members in the Western region to follow suit what the Assembly members at Ifiankwe have done and give all President nominees 100% yes.
Of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will not directly.
That I will not directly.
Or indirectly.
Or indirectly.
Communicate. Or reveal. To any person.
Any matter.
Which shall be brought. Under my consideration. Or shall come to my knowledge. In the discharge of my official duties. Except.
Or
as may be specifically
permitted by law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will not directly.
Or indirectly. Communicate.
Or reveal.
To any person. Any matter.
Which shall be brought. Under my consideration. Or shall come to my knowledge. In the discharge of my official duties.
This is the first of 14 nominees to be confirmed in the Western region. Correspondent in Athalia joins us with more. In Athalia, when are we going to witness the other 13 being confirmed by the assemblies?
Yeah, Aisha. So from tomorrow, 30th September, the DCE of the Lembele, Kwesi Bonzo, would be confirmed pending the vote of these assembly members. On the 1st of October, DCE from Poho Ignatius Asa Mensah. On the 1st of October, again, MCE for Ahanta West John Ejari. And then on the 4th of October, MCE for Wasa Amenfi East. On the 5th of October, Shama. On the 5th of October, again, Wasa East. And then on the 6th of October, which is Wednesday, we'll be witnessing the confirmation of MCE for Wasa Amenfi West. Wasa Amenfi Central will continue also on the 6th. And then on the 7th, we are expecting the Nzima East MCE to be confirmed. And on Friday, 8th October, Jomoro will also be confirmed. The rest of the details have not been brought by the Western Regional Coordinating Council, so we look forward to that of the STMA and then the others. For now, we have 11, so it's left with 3 more to go, which is not out yet.
I guess 100% yes means a trouble-free confirmation.
Sure, Aisha, because the assembly members all came in white. And then while they were going to vote, you could hear them, and it was more or less like they are all voting for a yes. This is the second time they've all voted 100%. The first time when Honorable Kojoaka was coming to office, they all voted yes, 20 votes yes, and today too, 20 yes for him.
And Athalia Kwanzaa is a woman in the Western region. She's monitoring events for us, and she'll be updating us on all the happenings there. We'll take a break on the Pulse. We're back shortly.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back to the Pulse. Let's cross over to Germany because 2 days after elections, Germany doesn't have a new government. Thomas Farrow of the DW joins us from Berlin with more. Thomas, why doesn't Germany have a new government after Sunday's elections?
This has to do with Germany's political system. What was elected on Sunday was the new parliament, in other words, the relative strength of the different political parties. And now, based on that strength, political leaders will have to come together and try and form a majority. Only then will a new coalition government be possible. For many, this process is seen as a guarantee of stability, a process to avoid radical changes. But critics do worry about what this means for the country, especially as coalition talks could drag on for a long time.
So what does this mean for Germany's international standing, Thomas?
Well, it essentially means that for the time being, Germany will be looking inward. Political leaders will be focused on bridging their differences and finding common ground to form that new government. Meanwhile, Angela Merkel and her cabinet will still continue working, but only in a caretaker capacity. This means that they will continue to govern the country, but will probably refrain from big policy changes.
So, Thomas, what's next for Germany?
Especially for Germany's allies, the key question is when the country will have a federal government in full capacity. For now, it is clear that political leaders will be focusing on building consensus. Coalition negotiations are never easy, but even less after such a tight result. Initial talks have begun between the possible kingmakers, the Greens and the Liberal FDP, and could then be expanded further to include either the Social Democrats, who won the election narrowly, or the Conservative bloc. But the details are still unclear. The stated political goal, however, is for Germany to have a new government by Christmas.
Thank you very much. Thomas Farrow is with DW from Berlin. Now, Ghana's magistrates and judges say they are frustrated about government's handling of the conditions of service. They are particularly concerned about the delays in the payment of the allowances, which they describe as sad. Speaking at the opening of the annual general meeting of the Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana today, its president, Justice Senyo Jamefe, says it has now become an annual battle to get their allowances paid.
Much as management has done its best in the years under review, we still have a lot of problems as judges. One, it's always the first every year, payment of allowances. Year in, year out, we have complained about this issue of non-payment of allowances or delays in doing so. Like we said in 2019, payment of allowances has become one of the biggest issues for the association. It is sad that judges in Ghana will have to fight every year for their legitimate allowances to be paid. It is sad, to say the least, that the leadership of the association has to personally trek to the Ministry of Finance, Controller and Accountant General Department, Auditor General Department to fight before allowances are paid, and it's true. We have to fall on friends at the seat of government to push for such allowances to be paid. As of September 2021, that's this month, we still have not received any fuel allowance for the year. Mr. Chairman, it is so frustrating, to say the least. Mr. Chairman, without mincing words, we are so frustrated. We feel disrespected about the way our allowances are paid, as if it's a favor being done us. For so many years now, we have never been paid, in quotes, any fuel allowance. It has always been a refund. As usual, we use our own money from our taxed salaries to purchase fuel. This is later refunded after so many months and then taxed as if it was paid upfront. In effect, we pay double taxes for fuel, taxed salaries and ex-pump taxes. The courts insist very much on timelines in litigation, since they are creatures of statute. Yet, same is overlooked when it comes to payment of allowances to us. Book and roving allowances. I said in 2019 that the service to government has long forgotten about these allowances. The last book allowance was paid in 2019. Roving allowance for this year is still not paid. Roving is 5 years, so people qualify every year, but this year it's not paid. Welfare issues, accommodation. The service lost so many bungalows to the Cathedral project. However, it has acquired 21 townhouses at cantonments, and I'm happy to announce that a total of 21 justices of the Supreme and Court of Appeal have moved in to occupy same. Though they look very beautiful outside, they have some structural defects. The houses are directly on the flight path from the Kotoka International Airport. The force with which the heavy planes take off directly affect the houses. Aside the terrible noise created by the planes, the doors and other items shake when the heavy planes fly over.
Now, Chief Justice Kwesi Eninieboa, who was also at the event, acknowledged the constraints faced by judges, but asked them to do their best to win the trust of the public.
We have serious constraints as an institution. In a population of over 30 million, we have less than 404 judges and magistrates administering justice in a litigious society like Ghana. The cause of justice may not easily be accessible to the poor or the legally aided litigant, who may equally not qualify for legal aid. However, we have to do our best within the limited logistic constraints to serve the justice needs of our compatriots. For example, from Central Accra, that is Ejabin, to Nsawam, there is not a single court on that stretch until Amasamai. And this should not happen in any civilized country. The same situation is true for Kumasi. From Kumasi Central to Obuasi, there is no court on the way, and that is a distance of about 36 miles. Nevertheless, we still have to adjust to these constraints and hope that the state will apply a bit more resources to provide court infrastructure to support justice delivery in Ghana. Permit me to applaud government and members of parliament at this juncture for the construction of some new courts under the Disassembly Common Fund project. The judiciary is now to receive over 100 courts throughout the country within the next year. The judiciary is also grateful to the administrator of the Disassembly Common Fund in this regard. I wish to urge you, as part of measures to improve upon our justice delivery, to advise litigants in appropriate cases to resort to ADR in cases which ADR is appropriate, to lessen the burden which is imposed on us. We have to also avoid unnecessary adjournments that are not sought on legitimate grounds. You should avoid adjourning rulings and judgments, as these cause delays in bringing finality to cases when very short adjournments could dispose of the matter. Accumulating of several part-heard cases should also be avoided. I felt ashamed as Chief Justice when a judge who has been promoted from the magistrate court to the circuit court had accumulated 120 part-heard cases. We have wide discretionary powers vested in us as judges, but these should not be abused, as it will lead to injustice. We must therefore be guided by our judicial oath, which reads in part, truly and faithfully perform the functions of my office without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that I will at all times uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the Republic of Ghana, so help me God. Be reminded that the office of a judge or magistrate is not a public one, which opens one's conduct to the public interest and scrutiny. To occupy the office of a judge or magistrate makes you fortunate, and you are obliged to leave it unblemished when the time comes to lay it down. Furthermore, the Code of Conduct for Judges and Magistrates, which has recently revised, has assembled time-tested principles for ensuring appropriate social behavior for effectively discharging the sacred responsibilities of judgeship in contemporary Ghanaian society. Maintaining the prestige of judicial office is essential to a system of government in which the judiciary functions independently of the executive and legislative branches. I would therefore urge us, judges and magistrates, as provided in the Code of Conduct, to distinguish between proper and improper use of prestige of office in all our activities and avoid all impropriety and the appearance of it in both professional and personal conduct. I wish to state that the Office of the Chief Justice and the Judicial Council will always be with the judges, but nevertheless apply the appropriate sanctions.
It's live on The Pulse. We'll take a break. We'll bring you the very latest from the world of sports.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you sport here on The Pulse. I'm Hans Mensah Andor, and Manchester United are embarking on what appears to be an image-redeeming exercise as they take on Villarreal in the UEFA Champions League at Old Trafford tonight. The Red Devils are in a must-win situation after losing their first game of their campaign 2-1 away to Young Boys. A painful 1-0 loss. Very much for joining me. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says it's not a must-win game, it's an important game. Which one is it for you?
It's a must-win game, actually, and I get the angle he's coming from, but this is a very tough game tonight, especially on the back of United loss to Young Boys in the opening of the Champions League. You've got so many good players. Why are you losing against Young Boys? Aside that, you are facing a Villarreal side that's to crack, actually. And when you look at the team news, some of the players will not be available.
There's going to be Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who has received, further punishment from UEFA for that red card I received in the first game. But let's talk about Villarreal as well. You mentioned that they played them in the final of last season's UEFA Europa League and lost mentally. How does that impact Manchester United going into this fixture?
A motivation, to be honest with you. They should be extra motivated to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if he had won it. So now losing it, I feel it should be a fire in the stomach of the players to want to do more, to assume more responsibility tonight. But it will not come easy because Villarreal, like I said, they are a very difficult side. They are not conceding goals. They are very resolute and compact in defense. And these are teams that United really struggle to break down. A very, very difficult game.
And of course, there are echoes of Ole out. Some fans want him out, some fans want Manchester United to replace him as manager of the club. Should he lose this game, would that be the rubber stamp to those shouts?
I'm not sure losing tonight's game will be the final nail in the coffin, because I feel we need to give him more time to see. But you already know my stance. I believe he's not the man.
You seem like Ole in. But let's check out the fixtures for the games coming up tonight in the UEFA Champions League. Some cracking games, and not least the one we'll be seeing in Turin involving Juventus and Chelsea as well. Also very good game to look forward to. But Atlanta will take on Young Boys, who beat Manchester United in the opening fixture of the season. Zenit St. Petersburg, they take on Malmo FF. Bayern Munich will take on Dynamo Kiev after their giant-killing feat of Barcelona in their first game. Barca themselves travel to Benfica in a game they expected to get a right result. Juve versus Chelsea is one that a lot of people will be keeping tabs on. Manchester United, Villarreal. Salzburg will take on Lille. There is Wolfsburg up against Sevilla. Tricky tie for the German side as well in that game. So those are the games to look forward to. Of course, later on at 10:30 p.m. we'll bring you some of the highlights from the games and, of course, have a conversation as to how the result would have gone. Thank you very much, Mubarak. You can read more at myjoyonline.com/sport. In the meantime, my name is Hans Mensano. Many thanks for your time.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
That's how we wrap up the Pulse this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. We have updates of all the developing stories right about now. Let's Talk Showbiz is up next. To enjoy the rest of our programs. Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Showbiz here on the JoyNews channel. My name is Doreen Avio, and today we get to talk more on the legendary Nana Ampadu. His sons want to share their fondest memories of their dad. Of course, some industry personalities also want to share some few things perhaps we did not know about Nana Ampadu, and lessons also learned from his passing. And we're looking forward to hear all of that here on Let's Talk Showbiz. So yes, he has passed on. He was a great musician. Lots of people have been talking about him, sharing their fondest memories of him. Some have also been paying condolences to him and his family, and it's rather unfortunate. But hey, let's take a listen to all these amazing people.
One story he gave me, we were traveling from Kumasi to Accra. There was so much traffic. I was driving, he was sitting behind. I tried to overtake cars. And he said, son, no. You have to follow the process. So that's the last word he said to me on our last travel. Follow the process.
We miss a great deal of things, and there's so much that we will miss. His sense of humility, his sense of jovial, you know, his sense of humor. You know, everywhere he goes, you feel his presence. You feel that, yes, Nana is here. Yes, he's a great man, and we will miss him.
Was an uncle. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, he is. It's a little bit far, but he's an uncle. He's from the same town like me. We're all from Ubo, and so he is someone that I mean, for me, if I speak about my mentors, he is the number one. As a child, I used to sing all his songs. At a certain time, as a child, when I was growing up, I thought one day I was gonna. It was a dream to play in his band, and so for me, Nana was. I mean, was everything that I wanted to be, like selfless. And I remember when I became the chairman of Gamro, he was very vocal. He was very active in fighting that Gamro gets the recognition that it deserves. I mean, I won't be saying too much of it because people are saying all the nice things about him. And Nana is more than an institution. I heard one gentleman say that Nana is an institution. I've been saying it in my interviews. That during the time that Walt Disney was animating some of these, doing this animation of Donald Duck and the Tom and Jerry's for the American market, we had someone here called Nana Pedu who was giving it a full script. All we needed was to get a young person from NAFT to animate some of the stories, and we would have had images and role models that looked like us, you know, because Nana was giving us a whole script, you know, and he's one of the kind. I mean, I played with him. I performed with him at the Kempinski about 4 or 5 years ago. And in the midst was ex-president before Nana Jima and Kunedu Rawlings. He took the mic and started, I mean, words pours out of him. He can be on stage and just compose any song, make it songs out of everything. I mean, give him a word, give him any topic, he will make a song right there spontaneously. He's one of the kind. I mean,
he's one of a kind indeed, and you know, like you rightly mentioned, that someone said he's an institution and someone who needs to be celebrated. He's a legend. I mean, he's composed over 800 songs, and like you just said, that he'd get on stage and compose a song. What do you think are some of the lessons musicians right now, the generation right now, are churning out tunes? What are some of the lessons we can learn from him?
Well, I think luckily for us, he left us footprints. Those are his albums, his works that we can listen to and tap from those knowledge that he shared with us. Well, I heard one guy speak about Jay Adolfo and the rest. Yes, we have great guys like Jacko Nimo, Nana Pedu was one of them. These are people who are more than institutions. You have the UN and other institutions recognizing them as such, but we are so close to them, and we don't even get closer to them to tap into their knowledge, to tap into their experience.
Can you just tell us about your relationship with the late Nana Ampedu?
Well, I would say that I am a filmmaker, so my relationship mostly started from the political front. But before then, I was stealing from him. Yes, as a filmmaker, sometimes I pick his songs, and it's mostly on stories. He likes writing about fairy tales and things like that. So I pick some of his stories, I steal them, until one day I decided that let me come to him and seek his permission. I came, I confessed, and he just laughed and said, "Oh, I've been saying it, but I'm just proud that you are making use of my works. And if you are here today, why not? You can do it. Any song you want, that you want to make a film out of it, go ahead. That is why I am on earth, to educate. So if you are going to pick the song and make a movie out of it, then go ahead.
I mean, this man composed like 800 songs or even more.
It's more than 800.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, even more. Yeah. What has the industry lost?
An institution. Yeah. We've lost an institution. For me, if you ask me, we've lost an institution. But there is also the J. Adolfos and the rest who are also there with us now. I would like to see after Nana's burial, something will be done to keep records of what we have left. Nana's demand should give us a wake-up call that we should have a way of institutionalizing our legends in the arts, because it looks like we only enjoy them while they are alive. When they go, then we forget about them.
I think that I learned few lessons, and some of the lessons that I learned is that one, Nana will tell you, don't be a cheat. He will tell you, don't be greedy. Whatever your level, your size, Nana will see you, he will want to hug you, he will want to tell you stories, he will want to tell you about himself, he want to tell you about Christ. Yeah. I mean, and he is one thing that everybody remembers him about, that he never forgot his God. Wherever he passes, he tried to make sure that Christ is mentioned. And I remember this one. I even have the footages which I will share with you, that when we went to Paris, that he performed in the Church of Pentecost, Paris Central Church of Pentecost. Nana performed, and you know one thing, when he was about to have the microphone, the officiating pastor was a bit, he was a bit confused, yeah, as Nana Mpedu coming to perform in Church of Pentecost, and so he took the microphone and said, "I am one," and then Ojuntufo Nana Mpedu meba menem gospel, and I'm telling you, in the whole church, yeah, the mood and everything, people were like, you know, yeah, this is the person we are talking about. Wherever he was, you will never see Nana frowning his face. You will never see him getting angry. At every time, he will advise you, he will educate you, he will share jokes with you, he will give you stories. I mean, he tells you stories about things. And me particularly, he shared with me, I remember in the flight, I sat with him in one seat, and he told me how he started his music, yeah, from Kwawu, how he all started and everything. So, practically, yeah, this is the person we are celebrating. And
away from that, Sam Oladotu is a new artist signed on to Links Entertainment. In fact, he is doing gospel music. Now, the young man has released, I think, about 2 singles so far. The latest one is with Ife Grace, is titled Ayeyi. And today he was on Daybreak Hits, and he's been sharing with us how he got to sign on to Links Entertainment. An interesting and inspiring thing you should actually listen to. So let's hear from Sam Oladotu.
How I got to Links, it was through a competition by City TV, The Voice Factory. Richie was a judge on the show, and I became the first runner-up at the end of the competition. And then 2 weeks later, I got a call. And the amazing thing about the whole Voice Factory was it was amazing, because I never spoke to Richie, like, apart from the fact that he was going to judge me on whether I did well or not on the show. The only time we spoke was when, I think, one of the days we had finished the show and we were outside and I was about leaving, and he was like right beside me. So I just greeted him, boss, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Charlie, you did well today. Keep it up." And that was the only conversation we had throughout Voice Factory, aside the fact that he was supposed to judge me on whether I did well or not. And then 2 weeks later, I got a call, and meeting were arranged and everything, and the contract was there, and then I just had to get my lawyer and everybody.
Really?
And we just signed everything. It didn't feel real till the day we signed, because I'm like,
really?
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Call them the Music Magic Sisters, and you won't be far from the truth. Tego Sisters is the name of a musical duo consisting of twins Lydia Dedeyos Tego and Elizabeth Kokoi Tego. They have been singing in the gospel music industry since 1983. Lydia Dedeyos Tego and Elizabeth Kokoi Tego, who are twins, were born to the late Hamont Ayikwe Tego and Madame Theresa Edu on 27th July 1965. In 1983, they joined the Open Bible Church International, where they met the male singing group, the Advent Heralds. They backed the Advent Heralds at their public performances. In 1985, they met the late Reverend Francis Akwesiamwako, who became their mentor. Under his guidance, they toured far and wide, both in and out of Ghana, and gained fame. Their first album, Nyame Yekese, which was written by the Advent Heralds, was released in 1987. Orichiche and Stay in My Heart followed in 1988. In March 2021, the group was honored by the organizers of 3 music awards in an event called the 3 Music Women's Branch. Joy Entertainment celebrates the evergreen Tego Sisters.
Right, so that'll be it for Let's Talk Showbiz today's edition. My name is Doreen Avio, and I'll be back here same time here on the Joy News channel. Until then, remember to log on to myjoyonline.com and of course Joy Entertainment GH on our social media handles to get all the updates in your world of showbiz. On Twitter and Facebook is Doreen Avio, and on Instagram is Doreen_Avio. Until then, have a great evening.